We're going to look at Adam Thorpe's On Her Blindness. It's one of the number of poems in the collection that deal with family, death, infirmary, challenges. It connects to a lot of the different poems in the collection. On Her Blindness, what can we say on the title? Thing that strikes me immediately about looking at this poem is the couplets. They're not rhyming, but these two lines, they make me think of a ghazal, which is a Persian art form, which is a Persian poetic form. I don't know what distinguishes a ghazal. It could be these two-line stanzas. But what is the effect on me as a reader when I'm reading? I feel like there's a real containment of emotion and a real step-by-step in the narrative as it's going along. My mother could not bear being blind, to be honest. That alliteration hits me right away. She could not bear being blind. Bear, almost means to carry the burden. She couldn't handle it, to be honest. It's conversational, informal, but what a strange line. Is the suggestion there that she lied about it? She said it was fine, but if we were to be honest about it, she couldn't. One shouldn't say it. Why not? We had to keep up appearances, perhaps. One should hide the fact that catastrophic handicaps are hell. This is not a small thing. This is a huge, almost life-destroying injury. And we're supposed to pretend that being handicapped is okay. It's just another challenge. But actually it's hell. And we need to hide this hell. We need to show that we're striving and working hard and progressing. But actually, no. One tends to hear publicly from those who bear it like a Roman. So in public, handicapped are like Roman soldiers, duties. They do their duty. Or they actually find pleasure in struggle. She turned to me once in a Paris restaurant, still not finding the food on the plate with her fork. Still implies the continued nature of this. And what I see is a woman who is trying to ignore reality. She keeps trying to poke around with her fork, not hitting anything. Or not so that it stayed on. Bracket, tried in a pitch black room. The poet directly instructs the reader. If you can't see, go try and get some food for yourself in the dark. And she whispered, "It's living hell, to be honest, Adam." It seems to be the speaker is themselves Adam Thorpe. Living hell. It's a bit of a cliche phrase, but it's the second time we've heard it. It's a living hell, to be honest. If I gave up hope for a cure, I'd bump myself off. This is kind of gangster language. Suicide. She would kill herself if she didn't have the hope of a cure. I don't recall what I replied. This is a really interesting line to me. Kind of like the line, to be honest. It's a quite false line, isn't it? Because, when you're writing a poem, you're creating a moment. And it seems odd that okay, let's say he didn't remember what he replied, but why wouldn't he be able to make it up? I don't know, it just sticks out to me. I don't recall what I replied, but it must have been the usual sop, inadequate, the nonsense to make it okay, inadequate, the locked-in sun, this metaphor, his emotions contained and away, not able to come out. She kept her dignity, though, even when bumping into walls like a dodging. So the imagery here is quite striking, not being able to hit the fork, bumping into walls. Her sense of direction did not improve when cast inward. So, no longer able to see outward, she goes inside. No built-in compass, as my father joked. Can you see that line? Let me just adjust the camera a little bit. Refocus. Instead, she pretended to ignore the void or laughed it off. I think that's a really important line, because the void is the emptiness, and this is physical and spiritual. And she ignored it or laughed it, but this is her form of defense. Or saw things she couldn't see and smiled, as when the kids would offer the latest drawings or show her their new toy. So the image here is more pretending, faking, playing. So we'd forget at times that the long, slow slide had finished in a vision as blank as stone. That's a good line. So here we get the emphasis in the time frame, it happening gradually, and her being so good at faking it. The slow slide had finished in a vision as blank as stone. Blank as stone. So now she can see nothing. It's getting to the point that's this erosion of her sight. For instance, she continued to drive the old Lancaster long after it was safe down the Berkshire lanes. That's an image of a near blind woman driving. She'd visit exhibitions, admire films, sink into television while looking the wrong way. The verbs here are nice. They keep the line fresh. Again, we get this image of a woman just pretending, but in a comic way, getting it wrong. Her last week alive, 2 weeks ago, I mean, this is really fresh, the emotions, raw. Why write about her blindness and not her death itself? It was golden weather, of course, the irony. Golden, of course, ironic. The autumn trees around the hospital ablaze with color. The ground royal with leaf fall. Again, the visual field drawn. I told her this, forgetting as she sat too weak to move, staring at nothing. Oh, yes, I know. So the thing is, he describes it, and he shares a poet's description, doesn't he, with his mom. And she says, "Oh yeah, I know. It's lovely out there." Again, pretending. Or accepting, I don't know. But it seems to me connected to what happened earlier. Dying has made her no more sightless. What a line. She was blind. You can't get more blind. Being dead can't take away more of her sight. She couldn't see. But now she can't pretend. There's a devastating sadness in those lines. Her eyelids were closed in the coffin. Closed coffin. And it was up to us to believe she was watching somewhere in the end. There is a sudden shift at the end of this poem that takes us to this idea that she'd been faking for so long that the speaker and the people around his mother imagined or pretended that she was actually watching them. And then when she passed, she could see no less. She couldn't see any less or more than she could before. But what's happening now to her is, to the speaker, is the experience of imagining she's someplace, still pretending, or in reality, looking. So we get this sense of loss. We get this sense of dealing with the blindness, and that blindness ever so gently transforming and really like jaggedly towards the end, turning into the death of his mother. What's really interesting is the theme of pretending and faking as if everything's okay, as well as the visual imagery and how that rhymes, or how that fits in with the idea that his mother herself couldn't see.